founder of Hope Spring Eternal Introduction Agency and the founder of Ngozi Talk Show. So today I will be talking about mentally health awareness. During the pandemic, millions of us have experienced mental health problems, and or our loved ones have experienced the mental health problems, but not everyone is willing to actually talk about mental health problems. Um, there's so much stigma about mental health problems, and people feel that when they have mental health problems, they shouldn't talk about it. And sometimes uh, mental health problems can affect relationships, it can affect your life, your loved ones, and if it's not dealt with, there are some people who have walked away from their marriages because of what they are going through. They basically prefer to remove themselves from that relationship because they feel that, mostly men, they feel that when they talk about what they are going through, they feel defeated about life. But that is not the case. We are all human beings. We all go through challenges in life. We all have to actually face the reality in the same way. Whether you are a male, whether you are a female, you still have to face the reality in the same way. So that's why today I've chosen this topic, because there are so many people. I feel that there are so many people who are going through the challenges with mental health problems, but people, they don't want to talk about it. They isolate themselves, and they feel they don't want to join support groups. They don't want to talk to their professional. They don't want to seek help. Basically, they don't want to speak because of the stigma. They don't want to speak out. So, and that's why I'm gonna play a video. So if you guys can watch this video with me, because when you watch this video, it's a documentary actually from BBC. It's a documentary from BBC. Um, Basically, there are few guys that have mental health problems, and they all go to the hospitals, but sometimes I feel that even the hospitals, they don't deal with the people with mental health problems because they don't deal with them properly. Watching this video, I just feel that sometimes, because they say sometimes when you have mental health problems and you don't take medication or you don't do this, you can be sectioned against your will. But I don't believe that. Sometimes I believe that people should be given a choice to say that this is what you are going through, or maybe refer them to somebody that can talk to them, not section them. Because when somebody is being sectioned, people believe that they are being held against their will, and that recovery is no longer a recovery, a good process. It becomes it feels like you're being forced to do, which is one of the guys on the video. When they actually took shoot the documentary, he was on that documentary, but when he actually left the hospital, his only way, because he didn't want to be forced to do things that he didn't want to do, he took his own life. So there are some people that they take their own life for them because uh, maybe it's because of how the society, how we are dealing with their mentally health problems. So the guy took his own life. There are so many people who have gone, if they are going through something, they take substances, drugs, and all different substances for them to actually comfort themselves, because they feel that if they talk to somebody, they're gonna feel defeated or they're gonna be judged by people, that's what we do. We do judge people, but not everybody judges anyone. So I think you just have to, that's where it's important for you to actually choose your own tribe as a person. So let's get on and watch this documentary. And it's 12 minutes long. So I like to watch it everything, so you guys can watch everything and see different from all different background and different nationalities going through different different emotions with a different story. So let's go for it. Let's go to share. Share. Okay. Is it playing? It's playing? Yeah, it's playing. So it is playing. Hope the volume is too long. It's too high. Something. I have the right video. I have the wrong video, guys. So let me find the right video. Let me find the right video. I do have the wrong video. So stop. I have the wrong video. Maybe I need to log off and come back again. Let's find the right video if I can find it. 16. Hope I've got the right video. Nope. Why have I got this? Actually, I have the right video. Why is it playing on a different?
I need to check, Richard, that you're alright about being filmed today.
Yeah, I'm okay, yeah.
You give your consent, you give your permission.
I give you my permission to film it today. So it's been good to talk.
I want to check. I've got your permission to film you.
You have.
And you understand what the documentary is about?
Yes, I do.
Okay, yeah, you're alright to be filmed.
Yeah, I don't mind being filmed.
And do you know what the documentary is about?
It's about mental health or mental
Every year,
illness.
more than 30,000 people in the UK are held in psychiatric hospitals under the Mental Health Act. It's a process known as being sectioned. This film is about 3 men in Nottingham with long-term mental health problems.
So
It follows their attempts
attempts
to leave the psychiatric system behind and regain control of their lives.
Hi, I'm Richard, and this is the room I'm in at the moment. Things aren't going too well because, this is a psychiatric ward, but hopefully I'll heal and get away from the drugs well. Perhaps I will, perhaps I won't.
After threatening his neighbour with a knife, Richard has been sectioned for the 6th time. Once in hospital, he assaulted a nurse and was brought to the Willows, Nottingham's mental health intensive care unit.
I never used to hear voices till I was 19. I believe that everyone can hear voices. No one will admit it to me. But I know that everyone knows that we can hear voices. But the gods, because of the pressure the Queen puts on the gods, will not let me tidy my own flat. They won't let me brush my teeth. I mean, I went into a nightclub, pulled this girl, she kissed me and she said, "Wait a minute, I don't want to know, your breath stinks." But the gods won't let me brush my teeth.
Okay, Richard's got a diagnosis of paranoid schizophrenia, which means he has a combination of hallucinations, hearing voices, and what we call delusional thinking. So he believes things that are untrue or unreal, but he believes them with a conviction that any ordinary person would have about their own thoughts. So since the age of 19, you've had quite a lot of problems with the voices and the memory, and can you tell me a bit about that?
So this is the guy that took his own life.
Yeah, I mean, life's just mad. It's like my situation, you know what I mean? There's no one else in the history of time where everyone can hear their thoughts, yeah? And there's times when I think I'm going to rule England, when I think that the gods will give me spirit enough to rule England. Now, the truth is, it don't matter how much spirit they get off me.
The staff's main concern is Richard's belief that in 5 months' time on Christmas
I'll
Day,
still make it,
he should kill
yeah.
himself. He's planning a heroin overdose.
Yeah, I'm going to put like 4 bags in the syringe and try and get that into my arm there. If I die and end up in hell, I'll be happy. Now, if I take it and I don't die and I wake up the next day, it'll mean to me that the gods are messing me about, because the gods have told me that I'm going to hell on Christmas Day. Yeah, but hell for me would be great. Yeah, so if I wake up Boxing Day and I'm not dead and in hell, I'll be right pissed off. Right pissed off, because that just means everything's fucked. Do you know what I mean?
In the UK, only 2% of people with mental illness are admitted to hospital. About half of those are held under section.
Well, I was ringing to see when the likelihood of that bed availability is, and to see soon.
In Nottingham, all patients come through the Healthcare Trust's assessment ward. After a few days of evaluation, it's decided whether they should stay in hospital for treatment.
I'm a senior nurse with special interest in risk behaviour. I tend to work with the more complex cases that are admitted to hospital, people whose conditions have led them to considering taking their own lives, or people who are a risk to others. We get people admitted to hospital from all sorts of backgrounds. We've had police officers, teachers, nurses, doctors, solicitors, students, all sorts of people from all walks of life. One group of people that we see more commonly admitted to hospital are those people in mid to late life who are coming up to retirement or have just retired, and they come into hospital with the crisis that major change to their life can often bring.
Tell me, why are you on a section?
Well, I was actually being followed by a police car, and I think I developed a degree of paranoia. In other words...
Were you driving at the time?
I was driving at the time, and I had decided that I would actually, because my thoughts were becoming increasingly disordered at this time, that I could outrun the police car. And I began to be chased across the countryside by a police car, and then by a series of police cars, until by the end of the chase, I had no fewer than 3 police cars with sirens going, following me through the outskirts of Mansfield. If you've been a consultant in the NHS, you're normally lucky enough to have a car, a high performance car, which I had.
And what car did you drive?
I was driving an MG ZT, and it went very nicely, thank you.
So, how many times have you been sectioned, Andrew?
I think it's difficult to be clear because, as you can probably imagine, some of the episodes are a little hazy, but I would think at least 4 or 5 times. I was not.
The police brought Andrew into hospital 6 weeks ago. A retired pathologist, he's lived with the dramatic highs and lows of bipolar disorder for 30 years.
We see people coming into hospital who are suffering extreme mania, and in that manic state they have all kind of grand plans and grand ideas what they're going to do for the rest of their lives. They spend money they haven't got, they form and destroy relationships, they can make decisions that they simply wouldn't make if they weren't in that manic state.
Shortly before being sectioned, Andrew told his wife he was leaving her and moving into a rented bungalow.
My wife and I have been married for 26 years, a long time. We've raised 2 boys, that's fine. But I think now the time has come for both of us to accept that this particular episode of our lives has come to an end.
And so you'll be beginning a new chapter in your life?
Yes, I will.
Without your wife?
That is true. That is true, yes.
And are you excited by that prospect?
I am, actually, yes.
What happens when those grand ideas are seen for what they are? Of course, people come down to earth with a bit of a bump and they're left wondering what the hell was all on about.
I've never been given the chance to prove to them that I can be without it and be okay. They've always insisted that I take it.
But do you experience any side effects due to this medication?
Yes, I do.
Can you tell me what are those?
Blurred speech, slurred speech, slower walking, stiffness in my left knee, tremors, shaking.
And do you demand any side effect medication for that?
Well, the side effect medication, they've got side effects.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Anthony was sectioned 3 months ago. Seriously worried when he'd stopped eating and wouldn't open his front door, his daughter called in mental health services. Doctors consider him now well enough to live at home, provided he return for an injection of antipsychotic medication every 2 weeks. If Anthony fails to turn up, he'll be brought back and held in hospital for the remaining 3 months of his section.
You're using the law to enforce me taking medication, and I don't feel that's right. I'm not taking it because I'm ill. I'm taking it because if I don't take it, the police are going to come and harass me. If I'm so strongly not wanting to take it, why do you think that is?
The nature of the illness is such that when people are unwell, they don't know that they're unwell. And so they wouldn't want to take the medication anyway.
No.
Because you don't believe you're unwell. When you're unwell, actually, the level of self-neglect you show is such that we can't leave you out there, you know what I mean?
Well, I don't
so you need to come to hospital as a safe place at those times.
No, I don't agree. I don't agree.
The interesting thing is that you don't remember what happens when you're unwell. The last time you came into hospital, I wasn't quite happy how you looked. You know, there are several layers, 3 layers of trousers, about 4 layers of tops.
That is not true. You know that's not true. I didn't have 3 layers of trousers. And you know that's not true. So I don't know where you got that from.
Okay.
All right, let's say you're right. And that's how it was. I wasn't harming nobody. I wasn't doing nothing to nobody.
I don't want to see you like that out there.
Well, I'm all right. I'm happy.
In your neighborhood.
I'm happy. I'm happy like that.
When you're well like this, you don't dress like that.
Yeah, but I'm not happy.
You're not happy like this?
No.
Is it inevitable that if Anthony stops his medication, he'll show signs of being unwell?
I think inevitable is a strong word, but I think it's also fair to say that it's happened more than 24 times over the last 20 years. So it's almost predictable that once he stops taking his medication, within a few weeks, we'll begin to get calls from family, from neighbors, because you want to respect him. You don't go out immediately, but, you know, 2 or 3 months, things become unbearable and something has to happen to bring him into hospital.
Since being diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia 25 years ago, Anthony has been repeatedly sectioned.
They keep giving me the message that, you know, you'll never recover, you'll never get over it, you'll always need us, you'll always need medication forever, you know.
And how do you feel when you hear that?
Well, I think that's a bit negative, you know. I think that's a bit negative because they don't know me fully. They don't know me in the future. They only know me in the past. And
you think that things can be different from?
Yeah, I think things can be well different.
Okay. So that was the actually the video for from the BBC documentary regarding mental health problems and So for me, I believe one of the guys, as I said before, he took his own life after he was discharged because he felt that um, he has lost his freedom. He didn't agree with him being forced to take the medication or to be sick. He wanted to take the medication, but he didn't agree with the part where he has to be sectioned. But I think when the police are actually following people with mental health problems and wanting them to come and get help, that can avoid so many things. That's why people start murdering people, killing people, and that's where the rapist become rapist because of mental health problems. So many things can occur through the mental health problems. Because like that guy, there's the other guy, he was married, happily married for 20 years. So he walked out on his wife. So he was 100% sure that him and his wife, they are over. It is time for them to go separate ways. But when he started taking his medication and started getting the treatment, was then he realized that actually it was the illness that was making him feel the way that he was feeling, that he felt that his relationship was over. When you listen to the interview, is actually 100% that yes, him and his wife, it is time for them to actually go separate ways. They've been married for a very long time, but actually there is something behind it, which is mental health problems. So when you think about it, how many marriages around the world that are being destroyed by mental health problems, people think that the marriage is over, but because there's an illness behind that, and people can know that when you are married to someone, when people changes, you know that there's something wrong. That person is not the same like they used to. But the other guy who was lucky enough because his wife understood that he was going through mental health problems, because he came to a point where he even went and rented his own accommodation. He got his own bungalow, and basically to him he was starting a new life until the family were concerned and they got him to go to the hospital. And the other guy, basically, as it said on the video, he went home. He had Christmas with his family, with his daughter. Is off the medication. Is off the medication. Is no longer on medication anymore. So, which is it is a good idea when you actually can recognize when things are not right. The reason why I basically chose to do that is some people, they don't want to speak against the stigma. They isolate themselves when they have mental health problems. They don't want to tell families. They don't want to tell their friends. They don't want to reach out to people, or professionals. But support is what you need when you're going through challenges in life. You need support. You need people that understands what you're going through. So also you have to understand that you as a person, you are not an illness. The illness is separate. So if you are going through different things in life, mental health problems, they could be bipolar, it could be schizophrenia, it could be so many things. So if you are going through that, and for you to be able to go through those challenges, to come out to those challenges, you might have to you might have to get professional help, and then join a support group for people that have gone through it. But I think the support group is the support group that I would recommend is the people that have gone through it and who have come out of it. Because if you join the support group that everyone is going through that moment, it can be a scary moment, because when you are going through something, you go and listen to other people, they are saying scary things, and they are not out of that situation, they are still in that situation. It can be overwhelming, it can be actually really scary. So the reason I'm saying that is, when I was going through the divorce, I went through with my coach. She was like, you can go through the support groups. There are people who are going through what you're going through. So when I go and listen to people, support group, I turn up, and everyone will be saying, my husband this, they will be scaring me off. I think I went twice or 3 times, and I was like, no, that's not for me. But then I started to actually decided to talk to people who have gone through divorce, who knows the process, who have gone through that process, who have come out and climbed that mountain, and they actually succeeded with positive outcome, with a positive outcome. Then I can listen. But if you go to support groups, where, to me, if I go to a support group and I'm going through something, I'm going through mental health problems, I'm not in a stage where I want to take my life. I'm not in a stage where it's scary. And then I go to a support group, and then I'm listening to people that are saying they want to take their lives, they're going to do this, they're going to do this. That's going to scare me off completely. So that's why I'm suggesting go to a support groups for these people that are supporting people that have gone through it, that they can give you some support and give you some advice. This is how we had to, these are the things that we put in place to the implementation to actually manage to conquer these problems, because having mental health problems, it is a challenge. It's a very challenge. It's very challenging. Anyone can sit there and say, no, it's not. It is a very challenging, and no one wants to talk about it. People are scared. If they tell you that I'm on depression, or I'm on this, people get scared. They're scared that they're going to be judged. But some people, they're not going to judge you. If you are going through anything, mental health problems, you are in the society, you need to surround yourself with people that you know that they're going to help you find a champion in your life that you can talk to and say, this is what I'm going through. Because if you are not, you're keeping things inside and you're not communicating your want, you're not communicating your feelings. So there is no point. If you are surrounded by people that you cannot communicate your feelings, you cannot express what you are feeling, you cannot tell them that little secret, the secret that I have mental health problems. I think I have mental health problems. I've never had that, going that far, having depression, having mental health problems. But I have, when I was going through a divorce, I didn't feel too good. I basically took myself. I rang the doctors and they were like, is it an emergency? I was like, yes, it is an emergency, because my mind was in a different place that I'm used to. I never felt that way. It was a shock for me. So when I went to the GP, and I was like, I don't feel too good. Something is wrong with my head. And I was like, oh, I understand. So I was lucky because I took steps to solve my problems straight away. So I was able to see somebody, to talk to somebody, and somebody that understands what I was going through, and that person was understanding what I was going through, because it was a shock. When you have a shock, it doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter who you are. basically I'm not in God, I'm just Nomsa. So that's why to me it was a shock. So I had to get help. I didn't want to talk to my friends because I knew that the friends that I was surrounded with were the friends that I go out for coffee with, and I talk to them about my problems. They feel sorry for me, but at that moment I realized that things needed to change. I didn't need anyone that was going to feel sorry for me. I wanted somebody that is going to tell me the reality, say, no, sir, this is the reality. So when I went for counseling, I think I went for 3 counseling or 4, if I can tell you that. Went for 3 or 4 counseling. I just turn up. We talk about my life, my childhood. Everyone asks, how was your childhood? How did you grow up? Your parents, how were things like with your parents? We talk about that. A 10 session normal session with the counselor. They give you 10 sessions once every week, and they give you the work to work like your homework. You can work on these exercises and do this. I took those exercises, and then I finish that session. I get home, and then it starts again. But the reason why I was feeling that way is because I wasn't ready in my mind. I wasn't ready to actually take it the next step, to take my life to the next step, to actually give up that life for my marriage. I wasn't ready. So, and then I finished with another psychologist. And I'm feeling the same way. I'm back feeling that way, how I was feeling. Then I'll go and pay somebody else. How much money am I spending? I sit down with them, another 10 session, 10 weeks. I sit down with that person. We work on the work, we do the work. It's not that these people were not good psychologists. They were good at what they do, but I wasn't ready. So then I went to another one, the third one. I went to another one. We did the work. I turn up. We talk about my marriage. We talk about my childhood. We talk about my life story. I sit there, I talk about my life story. So this is the process. The reason why I'm telling you this process is because I don't want you to give up. People believe that when you are doing something, things happen straight away. You have to feel good straight away. Everything has a process. There is a process for everything. So if you are going through mental health problems, don't think that because I've taken the step to actually see someone, but nothing is happening, so I have to give up. I didn't give up because I wanted to go back. I wanted that feeling that I felt before my marriage, actually, before that realization that my marriage was over. So then I kept going. Now we are on the third psychologist. I'm sitting there. I turn up every week. Once a week, I think it's 1 hour. We talk about my problems. She writes down, I talk, she writes down, I talk, she writes down. She gives me homework. Then I do exercises in front of the mirror. I do in front of the mirror. But bear in mind that in the head, it hadn't synced in that I needed a change. I thought I did, but I didn't. I hadn't made a decision. Then I finished with her. Now I'm looking at myself. I've had 3 psychologists. I keep going and going, and I'm talking about the same thing. We discussed it, and these people are trying to help me. But something is still not right. I don't feel the same way. But why? So that's when I made a choice. I look at myself in front of the mirror. I've made a choice at that moment that something was wrong. And then it was a realization that, yes, something was wrong. I thought in my mind I had made a decision to change my life, to get out of that marriage, but I to actually work on myself, to actually work on my feelings and accept the situation. But inside my subconscious mind, I hadn't made that decision. in my inner self within. I hadn't made that decision. My spirit hadn't made a decision to actually say, I'm ready to seek help. When I looked at myself in front of that mirror, I looked at myself in front of the mirror and I cried. I cried. And I look at myself again, I cried. And then when I cried, because I was facing the reality, I was doing what they have asked me to do. Now I'm doing it on my own. I had left those 3 psychologists. Now I'm doing it on my own, because within Nomsa had made a decision to change her life. When you go and do something, if you hadn't actually made a decision within, it's not going to work. So you need to make a decision within. And then you connect yourself, yourself, that decision with your spirit within. Your decision, you have to connect that decision within. So when I connected my feelings within to say, I don't want to feel this way. I want to break away from my marriage because it hasn't been working. I want to break away from this pain that I was going through. I wanted to break away from the chains that I have put myself into. I have put myself through those chains because I didn't communicate properly my needs. I wasn't the person that I thought I was. When I'm saying I wasn't the person that I thought I was, it was easy for me to go in the bathroom, prepare my clothes, makeup, fake makeup, that I put fake makeup that makes me feel bad, and outside I was beautiful, but inside I was broken. I spent 2 hours getting ready. 2 hours. I spent nothing, no meditation, no working on myself. So when I made that decision in front of the mirror, because I couldn't recognize the person that I saw, I looked back in my childhood. I was a happy person. I was someone who gave love, unconditional love to anyone. I would express my needs to my parents, what I needed, what I want. I'll love unconditional. When I'm loving you unconditionally, it means when I'm not happy with you, I tell you that I'm not happy. But when I started hiding my feelings, that means I'm building walls within me. And those walls becomes a chain. It becomes a pain. But those chains need to be broken. So when I looked at in front of the mirror, that's when the decision, I cried. When I cried, within, it felt like there was this dark chain that was being chained inside my chest, and it was being pulled out. The pain. And then I let it go. And that's when I met Nomsa, who was always there inside of me. And that's when it was 10 years ago. But it could have easily came to depression. I could have easily went to had mental health problems. But the reason why it didn't go that far is because I was quick to realize that something was wrong. I wanted change in my life. So if you are watching this video, if you need change in your life, you are gonna have to make a choice. Whether you are a man, some men believes that a man shouldn't have to cry. I don't know where it's written on earth that a man shouldn't cry when they are going through something, because when you cry, you release something. Apparently, men should be strong. And being strong, it means you cannot express what you are feeling. So to me, I cry. And I want to see my man crying. If I see my brother or anyone else, a friend of mine who is a male crying, that makes me believe that he's human. When I see a woman who is a friend of mine, a family member, they are crying because of the pain that they are going through, they are able to express that pain. It makes me believe that you are human. That's me. That's what I believe. That when you are going through something, you need to take action. You need to act on it. You need to sort your situation, sort your life out, because no one is going to sort your life out. I was able to sort my life out, going through those challenges in life. Because when you are going through a divorce, or it doesn't matter how long you've been, it basically break up. They say you've been with someone for 2 days, 3 days. The pain is the same. 20 years, the pain is the same. Because we make a decision in our mind, our expectations. So the pain and the shock is the same. So to me, it was a shock that, okay, this is the life that I had. I look at my life. I had this, I had this, I had a family. I'm not talking about material, because material don't matter to me. I'm talking about the things that matters to me. I had a family that this family, I come home. I have a man in my life. I had my daughter. My daughter, she's happy. Her father read a story to her. I read a story to her. We do this together. We go out. But that was no longer available to me. I felt that everything was stripped away from me. It felt that everything that I know, the places that I have visited, the family that I have spent time getting to know, it felt that it was stripped away from me. It felt that something had been taken away from me. But there was no blame. I knew that this is the reality. When you face the reality, that's where the shock comes. Because you are facing the reality, that this is what I'm facing. This is the reality. So that was no longer there. So then in the next chapter in my life, I had to begin to climb the mountain. You don't just enter the next chapter. You begin by climbing the mountain. But when you climb that mountain, that's where it is hard, because you're going to climb it and then you're going to fall. But then are you going to pick yourself up? Yes, you can. You can pick yourself up and get up and climb again until you go through it. You have to go through it, because if you say, I'm going to go around it, and then you try to fix things by, okay, I split up with this one, then I'm going to bring this one quickly, then you're not dealing with anything. I had to go through the mountain. It's painful, but it's worth it in the end. The healing process is beautiful. When you are going through something and you are able to actually to say, I am going through this. And that was me. I was able to say, I'm going through this. And I went through it. I didn't go around it. I went through the pain. When I finished the pain, it was worth it to look back with my journey and where it began, because that's where I met Nomsa. Nomsa that was always within me. But I Nomsa that I didn't know that existed. Nomsa that he existed when I was a child. That I had to bring that Nomsa again. And that Nomsa is here today. And it's the Nomsa that is speaking to you. The Nomsa that was always there. But I decided to neglect that Nomsa and concentrate on my fake makeup and concentrate on beautiful clothes, concentrate on fake hair, neglecting myself within. When you went saw me, you see me stepping outside, you'd be like, wow, she looks stunning. That was me. I'm still the same. I still do the same. I still go out and looking good, but I have to work on myself. I have to give myself that 2 hours to work on myself within. When I'm saying work on myself within, it means meditation. It means praying. It means getting to know the real me, telling myself that I love me. It means going in front of the mirror, laughing at myself, laughing and giving myself a hug, telling Nomsa that I love you. I appreciate you. And thank you for standing by me. That's what it means when you love yourself. That's what it means when you accept yourself for who you really are as a person. So that's what I do now. I accept myself for who I am. When somebody enters my life, they tell me what they think of me. I don't react to that situation before I'll react to it. I don't fight. But before I'll fight, I'll react to it and thinking, they made me do this, you made me do this. I'll be arguing with you and say, you made me do this. But actually now I come to realize that no one can actually trigger your feelings unless you allow them to do so. So if you are going through something and your marriage is not working, before you walk away from that marriage, or whatever, it could be anything, before you walk away from that, seek help first to understand your feelings, because there are different feelings. There are feelings of you feeling that the other person doesn't care. When you are in a relationship, you are going through something and you are not communicating your needs, it can make you believe that the other person, your spouse, doesn't care. But what the reality is, they don't know what you are going through. So if you communicate your feelings, what you are going through. If you are not feeling good, some people worry, like this is pandemic, people worry about finances, people worry about the vaccine. Is it going to work? Do I have to take vaccine for me to survive? People worry about, what if I catch coronavirus? What if I catch coronavirus? People worry about so many things. And that can cause mental health problems. But if you are living at home, your spouse, or if you don't have a spouse, you have a family. If you have family, if you can explain to your family, this is what I'm feeling, this is what I am going through in my mind, these are my feelings, I'm worried about this. And then you can talk through your family member a problem that is shared. It can give, if you share with the right people as well, it can leave you with at ease, because you share something with somebody that you know you trust, and then that person can give you a good advice and say, I don't think you should worry about this. Like myself, I don't worry about coronavirus. And the reason I don't worry about it is there's vaccine, I take the vaccine, I survive. If God says, no, sir, you're going to survive, I'm going to survive. So for me, I just have to enjoy every moment I have. So when I die, I go to heaven, I celebrate, I tell them how you all are on earth. So that is me, that is my attitude, that I cannot change what is happening. I can just wear mask. I can get outside wearing mask. It doesn't matter who I'm socializing with. I just wear mask, making sure I follow the rules, the protocols of coronavirus, distance, social distance. That's all I can do. The rest, I cannot worry about something that I cannot fix. The only thing I can fix is to practice social distance. So that is me. But people are different. People react different into different situations. So if you are that person that worries, talk about your worries. Don't keep your worries, because by the time this coronavirus, people, we are human. We are not used to being locked down, being told you can't see your family members, you can't do this. So if that is your worry, that there are helpline, you can make a phone call. This is my worry. Talk to somebody over the phone, or ask somebody, let's go on Zoom. Please, I'm worried about this. Let's have a coffee on Zoom. People are different. So you have to understand that your feelings that you are feeling, they are real and they are yours. They are different. Yes, it's okay to be different. It's okay to feel the way you're feeling, but it is okay to deal with it at the same time. So if you are a man who is watching like this talk show right now, you are a woman who is watching the talk show, you are going through challenging times, and with mental health problems, take action. The first step is seeking help. Seek help. Not worrying about what people think, what people gonna think of you as a person, because you are individual. You are born to be different. So it's okay to feel different. So seek help. I'm here today because I knew that when I was going through the divorce, things were changing. I'm living 1 minute, I'm living in a big mansion, and then the next thing I'm going to a 2-bedroom flat with my daughter. It didn't matter where I was going, how I was going to live in that house, but it was the change of circumstances. Everything was changing. I wasn't that woman that says, okay, because I'm a woman, I have a child with you, I'm going to stay here. I felt that I needed to move out of the house, and my ex felt that he needed to move out of the house. But that changing because we were all doing the changes at the same time. So that was the toughest thing, that we're all moving. And it is changing, things are changing. When you are faced with the reality, it's a shock at the same time. That's when you need to seek help. So I was able to seek help. And I know that during lockdown, there are so many people who are going through so many things. Mental health because of depression. There are so many people who are going through depression, mental health problems, due marriage breakup. So many people going through different things during the spouse being abusive. Children not used to, children not going to school, but all of a sudden you have to do the homeschooling, you have to do this, you have to do this 24/7. You are used to the kids doing schoolwork at school, and then you come and do 1 hour homework, and now you have to do 5 hours. You are a teacher, so that can be a shock to parents. So we have to keep it real. That can be a shock for parents. So that means parents, you need help. So if you are a parent that is feeling that way, you can seek help. NHS, there are so many countries, some places they offer free counseling. Get help, get free counseling. Or if you can afford it, pick up the phone, ring coaches. There are lots of coaches. Ring them and seek help. Not because NOMSA said so, because you want to do it. I did it because my GP wanted me to do it. So it wasn't me that had made a decision. I went to 3 psychologists. It didn't work. But then because I was like, I'm spending lots of money, nothing, this is not working. So when at home, they see the exercises that they given me, when I decided, okay, boom, it worked. Because I had decided, NOMSA had made a decision to say, I'm going to change my life. And that's when it worked. I was in front of the mirror, working on myself. I'm communicating myself. I was communicating myself, talking to myself, reliving my past, the things that affected my marriage. Why my marriage didn't work? Because of my past. Did I have a bad past? No. It's because my mind started Googling things that were not there. So I started seeing things that were not there. My parents divorced. And started wondering, why did they divorce? But now I was going through that process as well. It made me realize that just because you are with someone, it doesn't mean you're gonna be with them forever. So that's when I had to accept. I had I'm very close to my parents, but I had to accept that divorce. So there are some things that happens to our lives. We don't we think they are not worth it, but if you face them inside, we think, oh, this is just a small problem, but it does appear as an attachment. And that attachment, it can destroy your life. Me, I was the daddy's girl. So I expected my men to be treat me like a daddy's girl. But when it comes to relationship, it doesn't work like that. Princess, yes, with your father. But with a relationship, yes, I'm the queen, but the queen is there to save the king. So I didn't know that I needed to have a mind of saving my spouse. Not saying, why are you treating me like this? We need to do this. You need to treat me like a queen. You need to buy me flowers. You need to do this. These are the things that I had in my mind, but I wasn't communicating with the manufacturer. I wasn't communicating with my spouse. I had this in my mind that they should do this. They should, on my birthday, I should have this. I should have this. But I wasn't communicating with him. I was communicating with me inside. So now I know if I want something, I have to communicate it. On my birthday, if I want something, I have to communicate it. And at that moment, when I was with my ex, I'll be like, why didn't he buy me this? Why didn't he buy me this? But actually, my love language is not, is not somebody buying me present. It's the family, it's the time, the family time. That is me. That is my love language. No buying. But at that moment, I was getting frustrated because I go on social media, I see my friends, they have pictures, girl. They like, I went out, my spouse bought me this, they have pictures, my spouse bought me flowers, they did this for me. So I was like, I deserve this. Social media is good sometimes, but sometimes it's not. But it was never me at that moment. So that affected my relationship because I started wanting a different language that wasn't mine, wanting my spouse to buy me this, and without me expressing my feelings. If I had told them what I wanted, I would have got it, but I wouldn't communicate it. I wouldn't communicate my want, my desires. That was me. Didn't know how to communicate. And when I actually started working on myself, I realized actually buying gifts is not what I want. It doesn't fulfill me. But when a man spends time with me, it fulfills my desires because that is quality time. To me, that means the Lord. But to somebody, it may be different. It may be a different thing completely. Maybe gifts. It may be something different. Like there's some people that likes to collect history, and to them is their love language. Everybody's different. But for me, I started living a life that was for somebody else instead of me being me. So that affected my relationship and it affected my life. So now I know who I am, and I'm still learning. It's not that I know everything about myself. I'm still learning, I'm still growing every single day. I find things about me that I don't know. I didn't know that I actually, this is the person that is within me every single day. So that was me. And I love helping. I wouldn't ask if I want, basically, for me to be able to do the things that I want to do. I love helping my community. So I started by going to my local charity shop and ask if they needed help. And they're happy to give me the job, 1 hour. every or 2 hours every week. To me, that's enough. That is my love language for my community. That makes me happy. But before, I wouldn't just do it. So sometimes it is nice to live your life, to avoid, to make sure that when you are going through something, you communicate that problem to yourself and be out that awareness of I'm aware of what is going on. I'm aware of what is Nomsa is going through. And I know that I need to take action without worrying about what people gonna think. Because if I can be honest with you, 99% of people don't care. They don't care. I'm not just saying it, yes, yes, yes. People don't care. When you tell them something, they forget whatever you've said, they forget it very quickly. So you might as well go and seek professional help. There are few people that when you tell them problems, you ask them a year later, they'll remember it. There's loads of people. Loads. People like that. So and they are hard to find. So when you do have them, make sure you communicate your problems. Make sure you help them out as well as a person. If you're watching and you have mental health problems, seek help. I know there's a stigma, but you know what? It's an illness. It's a headache. If you can go and seek help when you have a headache, why can't you seek help when you have mental health problems? So to me, it's just like a normal everyday problem. If someone tells me that I have mental health problems, I just ask them, what do you need from me? Do you need a hug? Do you want to talk? I wouldn't judge them. Do you want to talk or do you want me to do something? What I have to find out the role you want me to play. And when you are telling somebody, you have to know the role you want them to play, which the role is for them to stand by you to help you. You have to be honest. Some people tell people and they're scared that I don't want to put my burden into somebody else's burden. Guess what? That's what everyone is purpose. That's why we are all on earth, to help each other, to fulfill our purpose. We are here on earth. Every person that comes to your life, they have a role to play. So just find that champion, one person that is not going to judge you. Tell them what you're going through. Let them help you. Allow them to help you. There are some people who will not allow anyone to help them. But when you enter their lives, you tell them your problems, they want to jump in straight away and help you. So if you are that person and you don't want to seek help yourself, you have to live with grace, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow and God bless you.